So recently I found out about something that is called body game. And apparently this isn't something new. I'm just new to finding out about it. But apparently body game is what's been discussed and talked about on these interwebs for the last couple years. And as someone who has been in shape the majority of my life, it's interesting to see that it's now being called body game rather than just being in shape and fit and taking care of yourself. Excuse me for the smoke detector, the single lady smoke detector sound. I'm in my gym. Somebody needs to replace the smoke detector battery. It is what it is, but we're gonna get through it. So a lot of guys today just decided to give up on the fitness. I did a video recently where I talked about the amount of people that just don't even exercise at all. It's like 46% of people don't even exercise, let alone guys that don't exercise. But it's funny because guys are so obsessed with body shape when it comes to the ladies. You know, guys are always like, it's the main thing that they're concerned about. Or when it comes to a woman, it's like, you know, does she have a fat butt? You know, does she have curves? Is she petite? Is she slim thick? Is she thick? All of these different things, right? So they're paying attention to the body. So apparently and clearly the body shape matters, right? But then I heard another gentleman talk about this as I was learning about body game. My guy Sage of Six Packs, shout out to Sage of Six Packs. But he made a comment on one of his videos that I thought was hilarious because he said, people who are not on body game talk about how much body game is not important, but then they sit around and watch sports with some of the best athletes in the world. Like right now, it's the World Cup is going on for soccer. So everyone's watching these guys play soccer, right? And these athletes, and speaking of, the finals just ended a few weeks ago as well, with the Knicks winning the championship, right? They won the finals. So his point was, you have a bunch of people talking about how body game is not important, yet those same people who are saying that are watching professionals play basketball, play soccer, and other sports, and those professionals are on body game. I thought that was hilarious because he's 100% right. People will talk about how being in shape doesn't matter, or if you're in shape, you know, you're full of yourself, or a six pack isn't everything, and muscles aren't everything, or whatever it is, right? To justify not being in shape. Yet they glorify people who are in shape. At least the professionals. The professionals get the glory, but then a regular person in their everyday life, if they're in shape, that person gets villainized, looked at as full of themselves, arrogant, vain, whatever it is, right? So I thought that was funny because I've been in shape the majority of my life. There was a time where I wasn't in shape very recently within the last year or two, and I'm now correcting the bad decisions that I made to not stay in shape. But as someone who's been in shape most of their life, it's interesting how, at least then, like I was rather slim most of my life, but when I went from being slim to being more muscular, it was when I lived in New York. I was about 23, 24, and I worked for 24-Hour Fitness. And it was noticeable by many people that I exercised. And I wasn't big, and that's the thing is you don't have to be ripped, right? But it was noticeable that I was fit and in shape, that I went to the gym, that I exercised, that I worked out and took care of myself. And people acknowledge that. People will see the physique and they say something about it, whether it be coworkers or strangers on the street. There was a time where I was walking down the street in New York. I was right by Grand Central Station, if that's the name of it. I'm blanking on it, but it's right off of what is that, 7th and 34th, or 7th and, I think that's 7th and 34th. But it's right by Madison Square Garden. So I'm walking past Madison Square Garden, and there's a young lady outside trying to get people to, I think she's trying to give out flyers or trying to get somebody to stop and talk to her for whatever she was doing for work. And I had my dreadlocks at the time, so she was like talking to people, trying to get people's attention. And she's like, yo, dreads, dreads. And I'm trying to avoid her. And she was like, yo, you got a second? Let me just talk to you about real quick. And she put her hand on my chest or on my stomach, on my abs. And she quickly removed her hand from me. And I remember this being funny because she touched me and goes, whoa. And then she goes, obviously you work out. And I just laughed and I said, yeah, I do work out. I actually work at a gym. But that was just one thing. I never forgot that because when I was skinny, I never got that kind of treatment or reaction. Like I was just skinny, you know, like I played basketball, I played sports, but I wasn't really muscular. I was skinny. So to have someone react that way, you know, pull her hand back and surprise and shock, and then like have to gather herself and say, clearly you work out, obviously you work out. It's funny because again, people notice the physique. People recognize when you are getting in shape, and they usually will acknowledge it to some extent. Some of my coworkers at the gym, even when I started again putting on size, they're like, Ger'rell, man, you starting to get that shape, you getting that triangle, you starting to get that V taper. And I was, you know, and I wasn't a big guy. Like I'm not the biggest guy now, but the aesthetic was there. You know, the V taper was happening because I was in that gym, you know, for almost twice a day sometimes. So it's interesting that this has then turned into something called body game. And I couldn't fully tell you what the ins and outs of body game are because I don't know what it is. I just know that being in shape is now being correlated with something called body game. So if I were to guess what it meant, it would mean that you are now able to attract women based off your physique versus approaching them, you know, trying to buy them a drink or, you know, cold approach or spending money, you know, leading with your wallet, whatever it is, right? So that's what it seems like is related to. And I understand it because again, like you have to use what you can to your advantage, right? You know, some dudes have the wallet. Some dudes have the face and the look and the jawline. Some dudes have the height. But not every dude has the physique. And like I said, the same way a guy is looking at a woman and her physique, and that's kind of where the attraction starts, is mutual. It goes both ways. And this is what I'm seeing on these videos. And I 100% understand and can agree to some extent. Granted, like I said, some of this is new to me, but I understand. But my point is, regardless of your reasons to get fit, because I'm not telling you to get in shape to get women, if that's what you want to, by all means, do. But my point of all this is you should always, always strive to be the best version of yourself. 100% every single day across the 5 pillars of success that I came up with, which is physically, so you got to be in shape, mentally, get your mind right, spiritually, get your relationship with God right if you believe in that, emotionally, get into therapy, deal with your trauma, and financially, get your money up, boss up, right? To me, those 5 pillars will make you a successful man. And if you're struggling in any of those areas, it's understandable, but all those areas can be improved over time if you put in the work and do what's required to get yourself to where you need to be a successful man in this world. So I say all that to say that exercise is the entry level into success. Being on body game, being in shape, having some definition, having a 6-pack, being lean, not having a beer belly, like all of these things will help you get further in life in a lot of other ways that are intangible. See, people think that you got to be some kind of meathead or like, again, you got to be super ripped to be like in shape. A lot of times it's just being lean. Like a lot of times it's really just cutting out certain foods and changing some lifestyle habits so that you lose the body fat, because once you lose the body fat, the muscles will be there. And even for the most part, you can also be skinny fat if you do a whole bunch of cardio, don't take in any protein, and don't do any strength training. Then yeah, you might be skinny fat and not have any definition. But ultimately what I'm saying is if you do some exercise, do some push-ups, do some basic calisthenics, which I always advocate for, basic calisthenics, push-ups, squats, sit-ups, leg lifts, dips. Did I forget anything? Yeah, pull-ups. If you could do those things consistently, regularly, eat a balanced diet, cut out drinking, cut out a bunch of processed foods, and get enough exercise and activity in a day, getting your steps in, getting on that treadmill, getting on that Stairmaster, you will be on body game. Like, you know, even if it wasn't intentional, you'll have a nice physique. And the thing is about having a nice physique is it's going to stand out because most guys these days don't have a nice physique. Most people in America don't have a nice physique anymore. It depends on where you live. If you live somewhere like LA, where like everyone's a model, actress, singer, rapper, whatever, that's different. Miami, everyone's pretty, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, you're going to stand out because you're not fitting in with everybody else. And it's noticeable and people will acknowledge it. And it'll feel good. It'll boost your confidence. You don't need the validation. We don't want you doing this for validation, but you'll get the validation as well. You know, you'll be a lot more confident to take your shirt off, to approach people. Your clothes are fit better. You know, I'm a big advocate of wearing nice fitted clothes. I wear a lot of suits. My clothes are tailored. They're tailored to your body. They're going to fit and look to show the physique. That's the same reason why girls wear summer dresses or tight dresses or leggings and sports bras. Like it accentuates the curves. You want to wear something that accentuates the curves. Just like me wearing this shirt with my sleeves rolled up, because it accentuates, you know what I'm saying? It makes, you know, it gives you a little display, you know what I'm saying? And I haven't even worked out yet. This is no pump, you know, that's just what it is. But that's where we at right now, man. This is what you should be doing. Prioritizing getting your body in shape, because that's what's going to carry over into your personal life, with your relationships with people, your business life, your job, in all areas, your finances, and then again with your own self. That's what it's going to come down to, because again, it's not just physical, it's also spiritual as well. It's also mental, which is in the mind, you know, where the spirit resides. So if you found this video helpful, do me a favor, hit that like button. If you haven't done so already, consider subscribing to the channel. I'll keep making workout videos, like I have some going on right here, just to show you the grind in here. I also have some outside, so we're not always in the gym. And I might even start doing some recommendations of stuff that you can do, whether it be in the gym, outside, or at home. But that's all I have for you today. Until next time, peace out.